Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a Spanish Boost with Jesús. Hoy vamos a terminar nuestra serie de videos sobre los verbos en presente simple y las diferentes conjugaciones. Verbos con ar, verbos con y hoy tenemos verbos con ir. Before we start with the conjugation, you have to remember that if you already know verbs with ar and verbs with this is going to be a piece of cake. Or as we say in Spanish, pan comido. If you haven't watched those videos, I'm going to drop the links in the description of this video and you'll see that this topic is going to be even easier. Bueno, vamos a comenzar. Hoy tengo buenas noticias para ti. ¿Por qué? Porque si tú conoces la conjugación de los verbos con entonces ya conoces la conjugación de los verbos con ir. That means that if you already know the endings for verbs, this is going to be really easy because we are going to be using the same list. I'm going to show you the list again and make sure you have your notebook and your pencil so you can remember and memorize the same endings. Pay attention. Presta atención. Here we have the list that I was mentioning. So, let's pay attention to the endings. For yo, as you already know, we always use an O. So it would be yo vivo. What's vivir, the verb that we are conjugating today? Yeah, it means to live. Vivir, to live in Spanish. So, for example, if you want to say I live in Colombia, that would be yo vivo en Colombia. Número 2, tenemos tú. Para tú, la terminación es es. Tú vives. Then we have él, ella, usted vive. You know, it's the same as tú, but without the s. Después tenemos nosotros and nosotras. I know I said that it was exactly the same, but of course there are exceptions. This is the only exception, actually. For nosotros, we are going to use an I instead of an E. You know that for ER verbs, we were using EMAOS. In this case, it's going to be IMOS. That's going to be the ending. Imos. And that would be nosotros, nosotras vivimos. Then we have ellos, ellas, ustedes. The ending is EN, so that would be viven. Viven. And the last one, you know, if you're in Spain, you're going to be using vosotros instead of ustedes. And the ending is going to be IS. Vivís. It's also an exception. Vivís. So here you have all of them. You see, it's really simple and it's the same process that we have been using in the previous videos. The only difference here is with nosotros and vosotros. The conjugation changes a little bit, but the process is still the same. So, you have to do the same thing with every single verb that is regular and that ends with ir. Now I'm going to show you an example of how you can practice using a website that is really useful. So, mucha atención. Bueno, esta es la página que yo menciono, se llama El Conjugador. Es una página muy buena para conocer la conjugación de todos los verbos en español. It's a very simple website just to get to know the conjugation of every single verb in Spanish. In this case, we're going to be conjugating another verb with ir. El verbo abrir. Abrir. ¿Qué significa abrir? To open, right? Like to open the door, to open the window. So if you want to get to know the conjugation, you have to click on conjugar. And the website will show you the conjugation in every single tense. Don't worry. We're not going to talk about that en este momento. We will in the future. But the one that we need is here. It would be yo abro. Tú abres. Él abre, nosotros abrimos, vosotros abrís, ellos abren. You see the same endings that I was showing before. O por ejemplo, si ustedes quieren conocer la conjugación del verbo, vamos a ver, decidir, to decide, decidir, conjugar, Y aquí está. Presente. Yo decido, decides, decide, decidimos, decidís, deciden. O por ejemplo, si quieren conocer la conjugación de un verbo muy común, el verbo escribir. ¿Qué significa escribir? To write. Entonces, conjugar. And here you have the conjugation. Yo escribo, escribes, escribe, escribimos, escribís, escriben. Es facilísimo, muy fácil. Bien, entonces vamos a practicar con un texto. Yo voy a leer el texto y tú tienes que repetir. So now we're going to practice with a text. I have the text, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to read it sentence by sentence and you have to repeat to practice the pronunciation and of course the conjugation of these verbs. Yo vivo con mis amigos. Nosotros siempre compartimos el desayuno juntos. A veces decido qué vamos a comer y ellos me ayudan. Luego, todos escribimos en nuestros cuadernos para practicar español. También describimos lo que hacemos durante el día. Y recibimos comentarios de nuestro profesor. How was it? ¿Fácil o difícil? Okay, so now I'm going to show you the translation of the text. There's something interesting about this text. If you think about it in the English version, where we always have the personal pronouns. We're always mentioning I, he, she, we, right? But in the Spanish version, we are not mentioning them all the time, right? That's completely normal. So if you're asking Jesus, where is yo? Where is we? Nosotros? Where is she? Ella in the text? It's completely normal. Sometimes we don't mention them, we just skip them because we already know the conjugation that we're talking about. So we don't necessarily need to mention the word yo, tú, él, ella, ustedes, nosotros, vosotros in the text or in the speech. For example, if you want to say I live in Colombia, you can either say yo vivo en Colombia or just vivo en Colombia. Or if you want to say I speak Spanish, you can say yo hablo español or hablo español. And that's it. We eat food. Nosotros comemos comida or just comemos comida. And everyone will understand. There is only one exception, I would say, and is that when we are using él or ella, sometimes it can be confusing. If you just say, for example, because in those cases they share the same conjugation and sometimes it can be confusing if you don't mention the subject. If you just say, for example, vive en Venezuela. Vive en Venezuela. Who lives in Venezuela? Él or ella? We don't know, right? So in that case, I would recommend you to mention the subject. If it's not él or ella, you can just skip the personal pronoun and go straight for the conjugation. And that's how we speak, and that makes it shorter and even faster for you to communicate. Y listo, ya ves, es muy fácil, solamente debes memorizar todas las terminaciones de los verbos con ar, verbos con y verbos con ir. Si tú conoces estas conjugaciones y las puedes usar en una conversación, ya vas a ser capaz de poder comunicarte al menos en presente. Pero hay algo más que tú debes saber. There's something else that you should know, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is just extra information for you to create more sentences and add extra details to your speech. Pay attention. You know that sometimes we like to explain or mention or express when the action is happening or the frequency of that action, right? Like in English, when you say, I always eat apples, or I usually do something, right? Those words in Spanish are really useful for you to add extra information. And here you have the list with me. I'm going to help you with the pronunciation so it is easier for you to understand and memorize them all. So write them down and repeat with me. Siempre. Siempre. Normalmente. Normalmente. Generalmente. Not general. Generalmente. Todos los días. Todos los días. Frecuentemente. Frecuentemente. A veces. A veces. And the last one is nunca. Nunca. If you feel that you still need to practice this conjugation, I'm going to drop a PDF with more verbs and of course some exercises for you to practice during the weekend or whenever you want. Okay, I invite you to click on the like button and subscribe to my channel. So this was everything about presente simple en español. I hope you liked this series of videos and that's it. Esto es Spanish Boost with Jesús. Hasta luego.